Alright, hi everybody. My name is Jared Foote. Most of you know me from class. Others of you probably know me as Joe Russell's roommate, considering we're really two of the only guys you'll ever see in that building in Pugsley. But for the Disabilities Project, I thought I'd just go ahead and get started. And while considering the topic to be discussed, just to give you guys some general information on the topic I picked, I really wanted to pick a topic that I'd never heard of before, didn't have any background information for, so that way I could learn new information on a topic I otherwise might not have heard about. Alright, this being said, I chose to do my project on Trisomy 18. It's an uncommon disorder whose effects can really greatly impact any family involved. Trisomy 18 is also known as Edwards syndrome, and it's described as and defined with certain characteristics, and it's actually defined as a chromosomal condition associated with abnormalities in many parts of the body. Individuals with trisomy 18 often have slow growth before birth and a low birth weight. Affected individuals may have heart defects and abnormalities of other organs that develop before birth. So while considering those specific abnormalities associated with trisomy 18, there are quite a few, and these abnormalities include, but are not limited to, a ventricular septal defect, which is a hole between the lower chambers of the heart, atrial septal defect, which would be a hole between the upper chambers of the heart, coarctation of the aorta, and as well as kidney problems. There's part of the intestinal tract will be located outside of the stomach. The esophagus actually doesn't connect to the stomach. There's also excess amniotic fluid, clenched hands, there would be a pocket of fluid in the brain, rocker bottom feet, delayed growth, small jaw, small head, low set ears, a strawberry-shaped head, and of course there would be severe developmental delays. Not all of these would happen to just one child with trisomy 18, but they could have any range of those. Okay, so though the disorder is described as a chromosomal condition, the condition itself is related back specifically to chromosome 18 in the cells, which is why it's called trisomy 18. And in most cases of trisomy 18, it results from having 3 copies of chromosome 18 in each cell of the body instead of the usual 2 copies. So that extra that extra chromosome in with all the cells disrupts the normal course of development, and it causes the characteristics featured in trisomy 18 that I listed before. So now that some basic background information about trisomy 18 as well as its effects have been established, I'd like to move on to the commonality of the disorder, just ratios and such, as well as certain times it can happen in a pregnancy. So, according to a study done by Victoria Miller, trisomy 18 occurs in about 1 out of every 2,500 pregnancies in the United States and about 1 in every 6,000 live births. The number of total births increases significantly when stillbirths are factored in the second and third trimesters of pregnancy. So that last thing about the number of total births increases just means that if they took the number of cases where a child had trisomy 18 and then passed away in the second and third trimesters, then that ratio would be a lot lower. Okay, so these ratios show that a disorder is really rare, but it should really still be taken into consideration. All women, it's not just a genetic thing, all women are capable of having a child with trisomy 18. However, it has been found that the chance of having a child with this condition increases as a woman gets older. So therefore, the likelihood of a mother having a child with trisomy 18, like many other disorders, is increased as the woman ages. It should really also be noted that there's just not trisomy 18 in general. Rather, there are 3 different types of the disorder that can affect an individual. These 3 subcategories include full trisomy 18, partial trisomy 18, and mosaic trisomy 18. I'll just briefly explain some stuff about all 3 of them. Okay, so the most common type of trisomy 18 is full trisomy. It occurs in about 95% of all the cases. With full trisomy, the extra chromosome occurs in every cell in the baby's body, so this type of trisomy is not hereditary. It is not due to anything specifically that the parents did or did not do either before or after pregnancy. It's just one of those odds cases. The second subcategory of trisomy 18 is partial trisomy 18, which is defined as, it's really very rare. So the last 2 of the 3 only take up 5% of the cases, as full trisomy took up the first 95%. So it's very rare, and it only occurs when part of an extra chromosome is present. Some partial trisomy 18 syndromes may be caused by hereditary factors, so this one could be linked back to hereditary factors. But very rarely a piece of the chromosome 18 becomes attached to another chromosome before or after conception. So affected people have 2 copies of chromosome 18 plus a partial piece of an extra material from chromosome 18, so they don't have the full 3 chromosomes. They just have 2 and then a little bit. And then the third and final subcategory of trisomy 18 is mosaic trisomy 18, which is also very rare, like the second. It occurs when the extra chromosome is present in some, but not all of the cells of the body. But like full trisomy 18, mosaic trisomy is not inherited, and it's just a random occurrence that takes place during cell division. Like I said, another one of those just odds games. So as we can see, only one of the 3 categories of trisomy 18 can be caused by hereditary factors, and this type is partial trisomy 18. This form can be passed from parent to child. In fact, it has been found that an unaffected person can carry a rearrangement of genetic materials between chromosome 18 and another chromosome. Okay, back to just trisomy 18 in general. Though it's very rare, it's got a devastating impact on families, as it can be noted in just what we've witnessed with all the abnormalities that can happen. In fact, the just survival rate of trisomy 18 is very low as well. It's really devastating because infants with the trisomy 18s usually die in the first few days or weeks of life. The fact that a significant proportion of infants succumb within the first 24 hours, so the first day, is a major contributing factor to the short median survival time. So there is just a vast number of cases where, like I said, the majority of them pass away within the first few days or even the first few weeks. But as they age, if they make it past that, their survival rate goes up a lot. A little stat about that, though, is that for infants with trisomy 18, data was compiled in 59 out of 63 cases and in 25 cases somewhere else. So the 59 plus 25 is 84 cases for the analysis, and the median survival for those 84 was 6 days, and that range was from 1 day to 975 days. So the baby either lived just that one first day, but then there was also the range to 975 days, so the baby almost lived to 3 years old. So like I said, it's really devastating in just how short the child's life will live. So in this day and age, there will always be ways to treat and detect diseases and disorders, and trisomy 18 is no different. But as with the pregnancy test, to see what a baby could possibly have, parents should not rely solely on those prenatal screenings to consider how to manage their family and their child's future. Through prenatal screenings for diseases and disorders, those screenings are a commonality now. Trisomy 18 is more often than not a disorder that will lead to a false positive for those screenings, especially in the second trimester. Interestingly enough, a case was done for the prenatal screenings of trisomy 18, and in the study it was noted that they identified 93 cases of patients who had abnormal second trimester serum screens for trisomy 18, and 3 of those 93 patients who had a positive second trimester screen actually had trisomy 18, giving it a positive predictive value of 3.2%. So like I said, 3.2% is not a high number, so parents should not rely solely on these tests to make a decision about their child. But with all this information said and noted, I would like to take the final part of this little presentation to reflect upon how a disorder such as this could influence us all as current and future teachers. In cases of trisomy 18, it is noted that the survival rate is low. In fact, 5 to 10% of children with this condition live past their first year, and these children often have severe intellectual disability. But it is for this reason alone that as teachers we should understand just how difficult this can be for parents to process and handle. That being said, if any one of us as a future teacher were ever to encounter a student or child with trisomy 18, it would just be my hope that they would handle the situation with the highest of care and to nurture the child to the highest potential that it could reach. That's my little spiel about trisomy 18. Thanks everybody for listening, and I'm signing off.